And welcome to today's video. We are playing Stanley Parable. It's a very good game. I do enjoy this, and I get quite sucked into it. And it's a game I actually know how to play. You can play rather easily. So, I'm not gonna look like a pro playing this, so let's just set up the time. And yes, it was generally this time when I started recording. Alright. Let's go. And it's never the end. 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 It's never the end.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
I'll let the narrator.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor at his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-wrenching, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
But yeah, I mean the pay's good.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Narrator's instructions for this as well, because I don't like this one run through here, and then like I will ignore him.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Hoping he might find coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Okay, not gonna lie, music's not that bad. It's a little calming, but it is a good...
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
That is a cool passageway. Imagine if like you actually went to a place like that. That is kind of cool. Down the elevator we go. Down, 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 down.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself. to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
What's over here?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Oh, I forgot.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Button. 3, 2, 1. Dun, dun. Very dark. Just into blackness. Oh no.
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over?
Well, that time you said something. Blackness and the silence.
Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold?
In a minute.
But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen.
I'd like to mention I am playing this on the Steam Deck.
And Stanley was
I feel
happy.
like I forgot to mention that. Anyway, well, let's get it going. Damn, that's a bright light. And damn it. Looks like we're going back again.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't really want to know where the head gone. gonna just cut
When
through
Stanley
here.
came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Yes, truly a room worth admiring. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
I was like triggering because this is a dark.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
I could go through that door, but I'm not gonna.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
I'm
not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing in your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been... Really?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna talk.
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
We're gonna know the narrator
Perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Yeah, but the blue door just looks so
thank God you are willing to listen to me.
Right, fine, I'll go with the red door.
I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here.
Yeah,
running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here.
Alright, they got depressing. I've just been talking about going in circles. Okay.
What do we
What's your
want?
thinking?
What are we looking for?
Yeah. No, it's fine. Sorry, I'm gonna go to.
If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy.
I mean, this
I
is
actually
pretty. I'll give you that. It is
happy.
rather pretty. Well, then nothing was gonna happen if I stay here. I know that much. Literally nothing's gonna happen if I do stay here. It's very pretty though. Watch the animation for a little bit and then I'll turn. I mean, look how pretty. Be cool if you could jump at this point, but you know.
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this.
The story will just cease to exist.
Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing.
It's unfortunate, isn't it?
No!
I'm gonna have to.
Oh,
give me
thank God. You know.
Okay, I'll think.
Oh no, what are you doing, Stanley?
Oh,
please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this?
We're gonna go up the stairs. Do better,
Stanley, let's go back to the other room.
Do better,
Can you do that for me? My God. Is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy.
No, I don't dislike
Am I reading the situation correctly?
I can't play more of your game if I'm just in one room now, can I, narrator? No,
Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it.
Really not.
I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours.
And that's not true either, but, you know. I'll see you in the reset node.
Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
We're back.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Oh, I can't go get him. See my wife. Ooh. Go. I know, right? What could it be? Imagine it's just like a chalk circle drawn on the ground and it just makes you jump. How bad would that be?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Safety tag.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Who knows?
Is it broken?
What this
What's
needs
going
is
on
elevator
here?
music.
Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Oh, there we go.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious.
I don't know.
It's as if the... Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Let's go. Jump circle.
Is
Unless
that
you
it?
just said if it's a...
Surely that's not all
Let's
the
see.
new content. There has to be something else, right?
Boing boing.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right
can't say
there.
I have this
Hell,
dictionary.
I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content.
don't.
And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there
Please
had to be
don't.
something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Just don't.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what
No,
happens
get your
when
don't
greedy
get your
video
hopes
game
up, man.
developers with no respect for their fan base
Respectfully,
rush a
you won't
cheap
be disappointed.
expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements,
Nah,
and it's
just leave
hard
those
to
small
believe one of
asses.
them actually says,
Give us-
"Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended,
Yeah, it's
and
good
I intend to
craftsmanship.
flame these
Can't
people on
disagree.
Twitter and hold them
very smart
personally
how they played
accountable.
this off.
It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much
Very cool,
anticipation around the new
I
content,
wanna get
I'm
that
afraid.
achievement at some
It
point.
could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is
Kinda
really
is.
about. No frills, no
Yeah.
gimmicks. Just you and me having
That's
a
true.
great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Okay. Let's do that. Let's do it.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent.
This isn't the office.
I want to show
Narrator.
you something.
What? In the vent? Okay. Bit weird. Coming. Down we go.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret.
Yep, I do
Take a
remember.
look.
We were just there.
I call it the Memory Zone.
Boink.
It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want.
I love those
Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you
Fair
of how
enough.
wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back
Love
in
in the
October of
triangle.
2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity.
Let's have a look at all these
Back
little
then,
things.
it all meant
It's a
something.
very nice little book.
Oh, the waste.
It's probably a box set thing, like the DVD. It's an award. Its eye's got a hole in it. I can probably see through it if I had a zoom. Look, it's a proton. For those wondering, a proton is like stuff the Steam Deck uses. It's in the. It's cool. Money. I love how there's just a $1 bill.
And over here
Go on,
is
sorry.
where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism. 10 out of 10 from
detail-oriented, and I
Destructoid.com.
like it.
James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote,
What's in here?
"Where so
Oh,
many
it's
games
ready.
that aspire to be
Publish
more
every
than
review.
games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now
That's a good
it's
one.
nothing. It's no games at
blame you
all.
for-
It isn't even the
being so
Stanley
excited
Parable
about it.
anymore. It's just a husk.
That's a
now.
good review.
A lifeless
Well,
husk.
every game strives
with
to
an
be.
hour of new elevator content.
I wouldn't say that.
Here's another moving passage, this
Aw,
time
don't
from
be so hard on yourself, 'cause it just had a
GameSpot.com.
jump circle.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that
Scorpion.
offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding
Have a look
choices
around.
I've ever been confronted with in a game.
Ooh,
9 out of
GameSpot, those
10.
are
Don't you
hard to
get it,
pick the reviews
Stanley?
on.
The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left
They put
alone.
themselves in
To
the
spend
game.
the rest of time collecting
That's
dust in the hallowed hall of
That's in the
beloved
game.
video
I love
game
it.
memories.
I want that tie. It's a very cool looking tie.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give
a
to go
nice
back
looking
to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no.
I don't think I can go
God,
through
no.
it. Let's see if there's
Stanley,
another
it's a
one.
collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these
And that
reviews
makes
were
it not
glowing
really
as well,
the
weren't
memory
they?
zone, is it? Because a memory is something you remember. And if it's part of the memory zone you don't
Honestly,
remember.
I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion.
Speaking
the
of Steam,
narrator
I'm
is
playing this on
obnoxious
Steam.
and unfunny, with his humour and dialogue proving to be more irritating
go.
than entertaining.
Fun bits.
Unfunny!
It's the
I'm not
Lord.
trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Okay, that. I love how you drawing that up. It's quite funny.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy?
This whole game is just
Stanley,
gimmicks
I'm not preachy, am I?
puns and everything.
You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can.
It should give really good
This is
reviews,
actually
too.
quite shocking for me. To be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as
A little preachy. You're a little preachy.
But maybe it wasn't.
I'm sorry, man. You are a little bit
What an
preachy.
awful
Coming up
memory
with
to
someone
have
who is
to
also
hold on
a
to.
little preachy.
These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley
did a good job,
Parable
bud.
isn't
You
quite
did a
as
good
sterling as I always remembered.
And
What's
game
this one
does,
got
too.
to say?
You did a good job, too.
You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening.
I have to go
I
to
wish
the
there was a
button.
skip button.
You didn't fail anyone.
A skip
You did a
button.
good job, Mr. Narrator.
Well, yes.
They're just grumpy
Yes, I think we
pants.
can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then
I recommended
then
it.
maybe
They got like
letting you skip
9.8
ahead for
hours
just
on
a
record.
moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything
I feel like
for the
the skip
customer's
button's going to be a
sake.
bad
Yes,
idea.
a skip button we shall have.
Just saying. I feel like it's going to be a bad
And
idea.
here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my
just generates
incessant
out of
droning
water 'cause
starts
that's
to
a normal
bore
thing
you
to happen.
with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have
Walking on
delivered.
water like Jesus.
No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No. The Stanley Parable is a game
I
for
don't know.
the people. And if
I'm
the
not
people
impressed.
want
I
silence,
feel
then
like
by
something bad's
goodness,
gonna happen.
that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver
Silence
a
is a
long,
bit too eerie,
rambling
in my
monologue
opinion,
full of
in the game.
unnecessary verbal flourishes
Okay,
and
I'll
lengthy
press it.
ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was the
Alright, I'm back.
Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on
kinda
a
wanna hear
thoughtless
them all
display
over.
of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this.
Okay, yeah.
And whether they'll
I can
edit the
see
rating
how
of their
it'll
Steam review.
be beneficial.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has
But
been
at the same
skipping
time, I
through
feel
is
like
becoming
it's
longer
gonna,
and
like,
longer.
be
That
a good
last
idea.
one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any
See?
means, but it's, well, there's really
I
only so
told
much
you
I can
this
ramble
wasn't a
on to
good
myself
idea.
about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I
It
do
is a little bit
suggest that we
shocking, like,
not
you
press
just-
the button again.
But,
I
yeah.
think the skip button has
I
been
agree.
aptly
Maybe we shouldn't press the button.
Stanley!
I'm a president
Stanley,
anyway.
please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
12 hours.
You've just been
Damn.
frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly
is
getting
a little
longer. And
worrying
my
that they're
God,
getting
there's no
longer.
way out of the room.
But-
Stanley, the door is gone. It's
It's
completely
also getting
gone.
more tempting.
I've looked at it from every angle.
Well,
I've checked every
there goes
one
our
of
door.
those walls 1,000 times. And there's no door, Stanley. There's no door.
No door.
There's just you and the button. And if you keep pressing it, I
You
have
and the
no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything...
I apologize.
Stanley.
It's too tempting.
Back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to
no
again.
lights.
Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2
A
weeks.
week?
I've been sitting here all
2
that time,
weeks?
just sitting here, not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's
Sorry, man.
just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've
I don't
already
think it
been
is,
doing?
no.
Me? Oh, hello, it's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for
I've
one
been
entire
frozen
year?
for a year.
Let me describe it for you. To begin
Sorry,
with,
narrator.
there is only regret.
I won't
There is
press it,
only the
but-
turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at
Can't
all
press
but
it, can't
regret
press it.
for
No.
the longest
Don't do
time,
that to the narrator
Stanley.
again.
Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside,
Press it, Stanley. Don't do it. Don't do it. Ugh. Damn it. Narrator? You okay? Where is he? If I skip forward, maybe he comes back. What is that beeping? Is it you? Gotta presume it's you. Skip button's also taking a long
but they
bit of
didn't
reload.
understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the
Narrator?
jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their
okay?
teeth and said, entertain
Narrator?
us. It wasn't enough.
Can't
They had to
hear.
leave a
I'll just skip forward, maybe he'll hear me afterwards. Silence. Definite silence.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end,
okay,
is never
narrator?
the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never
The
the
skip will
end,
fix it,
is never
surely.
the end, is never 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 the
What if it
end,
doesn't?
is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never.
One way to find out. Just run out of here. Brain's collapsing now. It's great. Come on. Just gotta keep going. Come on, hurry up. It's pretty. Look at all the foliage, it looks really nice. Come on. Need to get back to the radar. Well, this is slightly terrifying. Nope, nope, this is worse. This is worse. Alrighty. Yes! Freedom! Freedom! Let's go! Hi. First. Just have you. Oh God, what's happening? My head is pounding. What is going on? Seriously.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Back here
Stanley decided
again?
to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Narrator's back there. That's good.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very
New
exciting
content.
to
Let's
show.
go have a look. Very beautiful sign, narrator. It's a very beautiful sign. Let's go see what you got for us.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley
Have you
Parable
now?
was a landmark. and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further.
That's a
Which
valid
is why I'm very proud to
opinion.
announce for the first time ever...
Alright, that's
the
ominous.
Stanley Parable 2.
Call it say. Very ominous. A little bit ominous.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a
Very
measly
snazzy.
re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Very cool.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game develop. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version,
this
the
way
office
first.
could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm
Fair enough.
undecided
I'm going to
on
help.
Get Well Someday
I'm gonna
and
press this one
Happy
because if I
12th
press the other
Birthday.
one, it's not
Which
gonna
would
do
you
that
go
one.
with?
Like, I want it to be the Happy
You know,
12th birthday one.
sometimes when you solicit
Because
another
it is my
person's
birthday coming
opinion,
up,
it
and that'd be
makes
cool
you
to have
realize
decorations
that you knew
in
which
parts.
one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step
figured
niece,
it out.
it is.
Am I a smart person? Yay, I got birthday balloons. I've got birthday
Maybe I should have gone with...
balloons.
No, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Right, now this way. Let's go look over here.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your other.
Aha. Bam.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Infinite hole. Let's go check out the infinite hole.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Alright, let's give it a shot
Infinite
then.
falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
I mean, it seems like a gimmicky kind of gimmick.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and
How do I
we can
get back up?
continue onward. Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Oh, okay. Let's go. Upstairs? I feel like there's something down there, like a secret, but I can't get to it. And then let's go through here. The birthday balloons. And merch. Let's have a look at the merch.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable
fashionable.
was that it was confusing and
What's up here?
paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of
Grandstand.
reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after
It can
much
be, yeah.
consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental
Bucket?
problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket.
You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true.
I like
As
the
long as you
idea.
hold onto the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel
hail the
perfectly
bucket.
normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your
Very
arms.
nice looking book.
And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the
That's
ass
some
that?
good promises
Yes,
this bucket is
the
holding.
bucket
I don't
is
know,
the
it feels like a lot of
perfect
pressure to put on the
solution.
bucket.
Come on, give it a try. Can you feel
I
it?
agree.
The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be
This
sweeping
is
through
certainly
your
an
body.
evil ass
And in
laugh,
fact,
isn't it?
can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the
I do.
slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the
Now
bucket
wait
seem
for you
to
to
go on
open
and
the door
on,
again.
don't they? All this and more await you
I don't
in
know
the
if that's a
Stanley Parable
compliment
2.
or an insult, to be honest.
Does anyone give
I'm
out
gonna go
awards
with it
for
being a
most
compliment.
enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Right, let's go this way.
For the Stanley
Believe
Parable
the button.
2,
There's a button.
I asked
What's my
myself,
name? Let's go
what
have a
do
look.
players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game... Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here,
Why does it
let's
say
have you
Jim?
role play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature.
guess
Just
that makes
play
sense.
along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first. Now, allow yourself
I'll let you
to
tell your
become
own story.
Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim,
Now,
and
I can see
finally
myself doing
dying
that.
a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your
Jesus.
cult as
That
Jim.
dog quick.
Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the
You
button.
had to take it that far, didn't you?
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a
All
rush!
right.
That was you!
Sure,
The button
let's
described you.
go with
Do it again,
that.
do it again.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from
All
the
right,
Jim
I'll pause it
button.
again.
I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
You're silly.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley. An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it would go at the end of the,
Okay.
well,
I'm
we'll
gonna
figure
get your
that
name's
out
like
later.
Jim. I'm not gonna call you Jim from now on. Aw, I'm not let in. How rude. Let's go
Now,
get this
here's
free
something
achievement
special.
then.
You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's a...
Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you. And
You should be a wizard. Jim. Pushing all the buttons. Pushing all the buttons. All the buttons.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Red was next. I think it's a jump circle? Don't know where I'd find that though. Very pretty artwork though. Loving all the textures.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. You know what, Stanley? I actually think the jump circle was a pretty good idea. I'd like to hang on to that for the sequel.
Boing, 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 a boing, a boing, boing. Okay, I agree. Jump circle kind of fun.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Officially seen everything. Stairs. I am indeed.
So, Stanley,
Now
what do you
that
think?
looks cool.
Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but
Alright, let's see
I
what
can
you
feel
have
it in my
in mind.
soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay, okay. Loving the tune. Okay.
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement.
Could use some
Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go.
There is
Version
definitely
2.
potential. Could use some work.
Who am I kidding,
But
Stanley?
you first try
This
though.
isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a
Kinda has the
sequel
same role as
that would
last game.
capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it.
that is an
No
issue.
matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would
They
need
can
the
if you work
structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2."
Probably.
Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Okay. What you got in mind?
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.